So this fifth trip started out with a pretty nice afternoon drive across the bridge into Tampa, arriving around 5 o'clock at the airport. Since I was going to be away for 2 nights, I decided to try out the long-term parking to save a little bit of money and to test it out. Overall, I found the parking to be pretty generous, and there was a very quick walk over to the main terminal after parking the car. Interestingly, the long-term parking drops you off at the airport around the same area that you enter the airport from the express drop-off area. I made my way through the airport onto the air tram and arrived at Terminal A. My original plan was to have dinner at Ducky's, however, unfortunately their credit card system wasn't working properly, so I had to settle for Payway, which my wife informed me later is not pronounced Peewee. There really is not a lot more sad than overpriced airport Chinese food, but I made the best of it and enjoyed what I could of the meal. Fortunately, there were no flight delays, so we were able to board our flight right on time. On this trip, we were flying on a 25-year-old A320 named Chicken Cordon Bleu. Thanks to JetBlue's excellent entertainment system, I was able to finish The Hobbit right where I left off. As we waited for takeoff, I began the second film in the Hobbit trilogy. Our flight started off very smooth with beautiful views over the eastern seaboard. However, midway through the flight, we began to experience some turbulence, so things began to be a little bit rocky. Despite this, we still were able to land at our destination at about 10 minutes before our expected arrival. For me, the White Plains Airport was a very convenient choice because my brother-in-law lives there, so I had a free place to crash to help cut down costs on this trip. Since my next flight was out of JFK, I decided to rent a car as opposed to take an Uber. This had two advantages. First, I had a more flexible schedule, especially since there is some difficulty with getting Ubers out of the White Plains Airport. Two, even though the price was the same between Uber and rental, I was able to earn 10 points per dollar spent by taking a rental car as opposed to 2 points per dollar spent on Uber with their Delta connection. After only a 15-minute drive, I was at my brother's house and ready to sleep. The next day brought a beautiful crisp autumn morning, and I took a lovely drive through rural New York and a not-so-lovely drive through the Bronx. This is my second time dropping a car off at JFK, and I have to say that the process is incredibly easy, and it's a very quick route to the SkyTrain to take you to your terminal. I decided to sleep in a little bit since it was going to be a long travel day, so I didn't have much time to enjoy myself in the lounge before making my way to the gate. Instead, I picked up a overpriced cup of coffee, and to be fair, a pretty delicious chocolate muffin before entering the gate to hit the plane. This flight was on a A320, 19 years old, named A Little Blue Will Do. I settled back to enjoy my muffin while finishing the desolation of Smaug. We had no issues on this flight getting off the ground, and we made it into the air a little bit ahead of schedule, which was quite lovely. One perk of having so many flights so far this year was that I was able to earn enough tiles to get a couple of bonuses, one of which was a free alcoholic beverage on each flight. I decided to make myself a pretty cheeky mimosa out of orange juice and the sparkling wine available on the flight. Our flight down to Atlanta was incredibly smooth, and we actually arrived about 10 to 15 minutes early, which was a very welcome surprise since I wanted to try out two of the lounges that Atlanta has to offer. We exited the plane, and I made my way right to the SkyTrain in order to head over to Terminal E. I've gotten to the point where I zone into the Centurion Lounge like a homing beacon. It's a good problem. My first stop at the Atlanta airport was the Centurion Lounge. Since I was feeling a little ripe from all the recent travel, I decided to stop first at the showers that are complimentary for lounge guests. I have to say that the lounge bathrooms are really nice and have a nice complement of soaps as well as good shower pressure. Next on the agenda was a little bit of lunch, again complimentary for guests, as well as a small cocktail. The Centurion Lounge usually has a very nice selection of cocktails available. However, unfortunately, on this day, they only had their base spirits since they didn't have any of their normal simple syrups that they make in-house. Alas, life is full of these small disappointments. I stepped out on their patio for a little fresh air before making my way out of the lounge and towards Terminal D, where my flight was departing, but also to check out the Delta Lounge. Well, pretty much every terminal at the Atlanta airport has a Delta Lounge. The Delta Sky Club in Terminal D, close to Gate 18, is supposed to be one of the best. And I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the rumors are not wrong. Food is delicious, the alcoholic beverages are standard among all the different areas, but one of the best things is how well appointed it is. It has tons of seating and beautiful blue tinted windows. Sadly, I had to leave the lounge sooner than I wanted to in order to make sure I made my flight. This time I was flying on a Delta 737. It's 6 years old. As we've discussed before, it's not necessary to take JetBlue on all of the trips, and in this case, the Delta flight allowed me to get back to JFK in order to make a second airport for the day. I settled into the flight, ordered a cocktail, which was complimentary given the fact that I used my Amex credits for Delta, and picked a movie, which in this case was Jurassic World Rebirth. We had a really smooth flight up to JFK, with dinosaurs included, and after deboarding the plane, I made my way to the Capital One Lounge, which is new at the JFK airport. The lounge is a little bit hard to find, but once you make your way through the airport, it is an amazing destination. Not only do they have excellent cocktails, they have made-to-order food, which is simply delicious, so much so that I had second helpings. But they also have a coffee bar as well as a cheesemonger who serves made-to-order charcuterie plates. With great sorrow, I departed Terminal 4 and made my way to Terminal 5 in order to board my last flight of the day to Jacksonville. I'm back again at Terminal 5. It's starting to feel like Groundhog's Day. Cue up the Pennsylvania polka.
Pennsylvania polka. Pick up your partner and join in the fun. The Pennsylvania polka.
After getting through security, I made my way towards the plane and was actually able to see the plane pulling into the gate. This flight was on board a 20-year-old A320 named Blue Bravest, which actually carries the livery of the New York City Fire Department. After boarding, I settled in for the flight and completed The Hobbit and started The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. After the day of travel, I was pretty exhausted, so I wound up sleeping through most of the flight. Our flight was relatively smooth down to Jacksonville, and we arrived pretty close to our expected arrival time. After exiting the plane, I tried to find my way to the shuttle to take me to the hotel. Unfortunately, the signage was not very good at the airport, and I ended up getting an Uber out of desperation. Also, please trust me on this one. Don't try to walk to the hotel. I finally got to the DoubleTree Jacksonville Hotel and settled in for the night. The next morning, I caught the shuttle and made my way to the Jacksonville airport. After only a couple hours of sleep, I was still pretty exhausted, so I decided to head straight to the plane as opposed to getting a cup of coffee. Once more, I boarded Blue Bravest in order to head back up to JFK. Honestly, I can't remember much of the flight up to New York because I was sleeping for it. However, when I did wake up, there were very beautiful views over the East Coast, and we arrived safely at JFK on time. After deboarding the plane, I grabbed a little bit of breakfast, which was a calzone from Artichoke. Not too bad, but a little bit doughy. After breakfast, I made my way down to the gate in order to board my flight to Charleston. On this flight, I was on a 4-year-old A220 named Making My Big Day Blue. After settling in and taking off, I decided to finish the Fellowship of the Ring, and we began what proved to be a very smooth flight down to Charleston. We arrived in Charleston in the early afternoon, and I grabbed an Uber in order to make my way to the main central business district of the city. I had lunch at Miller's All Day, which is a local establishment that specializes in Southern cuisine. They served a pretty decent shrimp and grits, which I paired with a local beer. After lunch, I made my way to the Maker's Market, which is a really fun highlight of the city where you can buy local crafts. After this, I went to the historic area of the city to check out the painted houses as well as the waterfront. Finally, I took a trip to the Provost Jail and Dungeon, which proved to be a major highlight of the trip and actually showcased the southern part of the Revolutionary War, which I actually had no idea about before this trip. After enjoying a day of local history and cuisine, I went back to the airport and hit the lounge. Or I tried to. Unfortunately, when I tried to enter, the lounge was at capacity, so I had to wait about 45 minutes before I was able to get a seat. Given that this is the only airport lounge in the Charleston airport, it makes sense that it's busy. And it was very nice and had good seating as well as a very nice selection of food and drinks available. After relaxing in the lounge for about an hour, I took the 5-minute walk to my gate in order to board my plane. This time I was traveling on an A220 from Breeze, which is about 3 years old. Overall, the flight was very smooth. Since they don't have in-flight entertainment available, I downloaded Dawn of the Dead to keep myself occupied in the hour or so of the flight. We made it back to Tampa in a very good time, and I was able to head to the long-term parking in order to get my car. Overall, this trip added 4 new airports to my total of 19 and covered 4 states. Make sure to like and subscribe for more travel-related videos.